Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? So happy Monday to you. Today we're back to a regular show. I think next week I'll do more video stuff of Chicken Wiggle. Everyone seemed to really enjoy that, which is awesome. I'm really glad that that was received well. It was really fun to make, and it's neat to actually watch it as well myself, look back on it from a kind of a third person perspective, and it's like, yeah, it's neat. I'm really proud of the game. It's come along really good. Anyway, so let's dive right into this with the first section, a kaboosh. So what is going on? What have I been playing? Well, you may have noticed this little guy in the background here. Little Poochie. How cute is he? She, it. Doesn't have a penis. Maybe it's a boy, don't know. Maybe not. It's probably told somewhere whether it's a boy or a girl, maybe it's not. Who cares? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. Adorable. That's what matters. What's it officially called? Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. The 3DS, obviously originally on the Wii U, and then they ported it to the 3DS with the Poochie edition. And obviously I bought the one with the amiibo, Poochie amiibo. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I bought it on the Wii U, I just didn't really have much time to play it when it came out. Like I've said before, like handheld is definitely more my lifestyle, kind of, it fits in better, you know. I can just play it whenever. And right now I'm kind of playing this in bed before I go to sleep, kind of. Just to kind of wind down, so it's a really good game for that. Yeah, I like it. It's solid. It's really good. I mean, it's yeah, it's a really good Yoshi game. I think if you like the way I'm playing it is I'm playing the level, kind of looking at where, trying to find everything, and some of the things are quite well hidden. I mean, the hearts are particularly tricky sometimes to get all of those because they may just fall off a ledge, and you're like, oh, guess that's gone then. Guess I won't be getting 100% on that one then. Thanks. But things like the flowers and you know, and some of the other things, you know, in specific places, and you have to think about it, you know, think about how to get to it. So it's neat. Anyway, been playing that, really fun. I definitely recommend it. It's nice that a game of this caliber is coming out at this point in the 3DS's life. You know, we're getting obviously towards the end of the life, unfortunately, of the 3DS. I'm expecting this Christmas to be the last big one probably for the system, unfortunately. With now the Switch coming out so soon, so yeah, so it's nice to have something like this come out. So there's that, boosh, put it in my out pile. What else have I been doing? I've been going on a little bit of a Studio Ghibli kick recently. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not, but based on my how I read words, that's how I say it. That may be wrong, because, you know, someone else who made it up is like, no, it's pronounced like this way. Ghibli, who knows it, Lee. Anyway, Amazon's had some really good sales on their movies, so I just had to dive in and get it, even though I can stream it probably cheaper online and whatever. But so Totoro is one of them, which is really neat. My Name of Totoro, just a really sweet movie, really sweet story, and it's visually ridiculous. It came out in like an 80-something. It came out so long ago. I think it said on the back here somewhere what the original release was. I should have looked it up before I started this, I guess. Whatever. It was ages ago. Yeah, 88 maybe? Wow. Amazing, right? And then obviously this came out, you know, on DVD or whatever in the 2000s, but well, Blu-ray. Anyway, very good. Just recommend any of the movies from that studio. Another personal favorite of mine is Kiki's Delivery Service. Again, a really sweet story. Artwork is great. These obviously the English voice acting. These are not the subtitled ones. So depending on what you prefer, obviously you'd want to look for certain things. But I must say that the English voice acting in these are really good. I think this one actually has Kirsten Dunst and Phil Hartman, Janine Garofalo, and Debbie Reynolds doing the voices, and it's great. It's really good. I mean, very good. Very good, very natural, really works really well. And honestly, I don't know if I've seen the original Japanese one of this one. I might have done, I'm not sure. But I've seen both of Totoro, and I gotta say, I actually prefer the English voice acting in this one. Sorry, I know some people are like, what? It's crazy! It's just done so well. It's really, really good. Like the dad especially, I like the dad's voice in the English one versus the Japanese one. I think he's just a lot softer and nicer sounding in the English one. that's really interesting. The choice of words as well. Like there's a scene where May is all dressed up and Dad's working in his office room or whatever, and and she's all dressed up like acting all like she's a grown up. And she's just playing. She's just at home playing, but she's like, I'm all dressed up, I'm ready to go. And in the Japanese one, well, the subtitle at least anyway, says I'm off out, and it's like, okay, she's dressed up and she's going out, great, whatever. There's not really much of a joke or much context to what that's trying to say, but in the English one, which I found was really interesting, is she's all dressed up and she's like, okay, I'm off to run some errands, which is funny because a 4-year-old, or how old she is, I don't know, but a 4-year-old wouldn't go out and run errands, because they don't do that. So I thought that was funnier. It was interesting that they used that word, because it's like, oh, that's cool, yeah, she's trying to be a grown-up. And I think that's somewhat lost in at least the subtitled version of the Japanese one. Maybe in actual Japanese she says something that makes sense, like, I'm off to do something grown-up. That's funny because she's not. Anyway, whatever. So there's some really interesting differences between the subtitles and the script that the English actors read. Very interesting. Anyway, so there you go. This is what I've been up to. So there's that. So let's get on to the next one. A gaboosh. What's in the news? Not much, actually. I mean, it's all just pre-Switch hype, really. And on that note, something I found really neat was GameXplain's analysis video of Mario Odyssey. If you don't know GameXplain, they're a YouTube channel and they do Twitter as well. But mainly, I guess, they do videos. I mean, YouTube is their platform. They do amazing analysis videos, as well as other things. They do reviews and interviews and all kinds of stuff. But their analysis, I think, is what they've become known for. Obviously, GameXplain. It's in the name. Man, so Andre's analysis of Odyssey is insane. It's like an hour and a half long, and it's diving in deep into the trailer, the footage that Nintendo's released so far of Mario Odyssey, which isn't a ton. But man, the stuff that Andre got out of that stuff was incredible. You've seen from a previous video of mine, I was kind of on the fence. I mean, I was like, I'm not sure about Odyssey, but I'll hold my judgment obviously until I get it in my hands and play it and see what the actual game is like. But I must say, Andre's video, GameXplain's video, really gave me a good perspective of it. Like, helped me understand maybe, I mean, there's a lot of speculation in there, but maybe what the game is and how it's structured and what some of the focus and emphasis of the game experience might be based on his findings, which seem very logical and very reasonable. Anyway, check it out. I'll put it in the link below. It's really neat. If you've got an hour and a half, I mean, the good thing is a lot of times you can just listen to it, but there are some visual cues as well, which is important to watch. But I definitely recommend it. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it, and and now I'm more excited about the game, which is crazy. That just looking at the same footage, but with a little bit more depth and thought, and trying to tie things together. Has really changed my perspective of the game, which is really neat, very interesting. So I'm definitely more pumped for the game now than I was. Still holding, I'm still not a fan of the New York City scene. I think it's very strange, but I think that is just a small slice of a very large and potentially very interesting game. So that's cool. And now we will go on to Good Morning Blibs. Alright, there we go. There's that. And now we'll go straight into the next section. Gaboosh. Alright, what's going on with our games right now? So Chicken Wiggle is feature complete. We are done, and now we are just focusing on bugs and polish. Tweaks and such. It's cool. We've got the boss done, we've got the outro, the intro. It's all there, I mean, I've played the levels a ton. There's 48 levels, including the last boss. I played through them all, made little tweaks and stuff. They're all good to go. I feel really good about them. The menu flow and all the ho-ha hee-ha, getting around doing all the stuff, and it's all there. We've got the credits in there, like I say, the boss, the outro. I like how it wraps up. I'm not going to say anything about how it wraps up, but I like that there's bookends. There's the beginning, there's the intro of setting up the story. Not much of a story, but setting up the story. And then there's the end, when it is resolved and you're done. very cool. I'm glad we got the time to actually do it. The project has taken way longer than we originally intended. Oh my gosh. But, you know, it's for good reason. We're trying to make a good game, you know? So, whatever. It's frustrating, though. On one hand, it's very frustrating that these games never are done when I want them to be done. But they do turn out the way we want them to turn out. So, whatever. Anyway, so that's great. So, Chicken Wiggle is very nearly done. I'm hoping we get to submit to Nintendo this month, you know, in February, before the end of the month, I'm hoping. Yeah. Touch wood. Let's hope that happens. Very cool. Treasure Noughts. Yeah, I'm in the thick of it. Into the thick of it. I'm just right in there doing general design, level design. The process I'm doing, and I think I touched on this in the past, but I'm not sure, is I like to look at things from a different perspectives, right? Like you're in there, there's the level, you're looking at the level from the player's perspective, you know, as far as what the screen will show you when you're playing the game. That's, you know, a perspective, very important. It's the perspective of the game. And then if you pull out, you can see the whole level. Great, that's another perspective. But if you pull out even again, and you get to see that level next to the other levels of the island, that's good too, because and that's kind of a lot of what I'm doing right now, where there's a simplified version of a level, which I'll show up now. Boom. And that shows, obviously that's you know, a lower resolution of the actual level, for example, but it shows the basics of where the player starts, like the S, you know, where some of the enemies are placed, which are little red and blue boxes and stuff, where pickups might be, and the exit, and, you know, stuff like that, you know. So anyway, so the nice thing is, and the reason I create those smaller levels, is I can get a bunch of those on one image, one canvas, and zoom out and still be able to see them. I can then imagine I'm playing the game and kind of going, right, there's level 1, and that'll flow to level 2, and so on. And at a snapshot, I can see what the player's experience will be. I can imagine I'm playing the game, and great, I experience those enemies or that device or whatever there. Now I'm on this level. Okay, great. Now I get a flavor of what I'm experiencing there. Go on to the next one, you know, or maybe there's a secret level, a secret exit there, and I go on to that. So great, that's the first time that. Is that obvious? Is that hidden? You know, it's called secret, but sometimes they're just like, oh, it's there, but I can't get to it. And sometimes, like, I don't know where it is. So anyway, whatever. So it's nice to kind of see it from that, and that's the way I like to. That's kind of where I'm at right now, and I like to see that from that perspective, to kind of get a really good flavor of it, where you kind of backed out, where you're not just, you know, right up there too close, worrying about only just that level. I'm worrying about how it fits into the grand scheme of things, like the level before it, the level after it, all the levels on this island. How well am I using the assets that are associated with this island? You know, there's certain enemies that are introduced here and primarily used here, and devices and so on. Yeah, how well are they being used? Are they interesting? And not necessarily to the point of, like, am I squeezing the crap out of all of them as far as using them to the nth degree? I mean, it could be important as well, but it's really, is the player, number one, experiencing new things at a pretty good rate, as far as, like, level 1 obviously is completely new, so yay. Level 2, what's new in that? Level 3, is there something new in that? Or is it a repeat of what you've already done, but with a twist on it? And so on. Anyway, to kind of get a feel for all of that. So, anyway, whatever, I waffled about that way too long. So there's that, anyway, so I've been doing that, which is cool. So anyway, so Treasure Noughts is coming along well, so that's great. So I'm in the thick of it, like I said, I'm right in the middle of it, doing all kinds of fun stuff. Oh, just nearly knocked over my headphones there. And the mobile game that we're working on is it's nearly done. Like I said before, it's really small and pretty quick to make, and I guess it's feature complete. Yeah, I mean, well, more or less. I mean, it's basically done. Excuse me. And it's just a matter of now just tidying up loose ends. So it's really a nice, it's been a nice experience. We're nearly done with it. It's only been a few weeks. I think, where are we? I think I'll probably reveal it maybe If it's not next week, the week after. I'm not sure when I'm going to reveal it, because next week I'll probably do some more Chicken Wiggle stuff. So, oh no, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm happy with it. It's come along good. And that's great. And there's another secret something else we're working on as well on the side that I'll talk about some other time. Well, there's a few secret things actually, but there's one specifically I'm thinking of. Not that it makes any difference because they're all secret. So you're like, whatever, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, so there you go. So right, we're done with that because this is already going quite long. So let's go on to the next section, which is Random Waffles. A boosh. A Random Waffles. This is going to be a little bit of a long one because it looks like it's already been 15 minutes, bar any edits that I may take out or whatever, or add, I guess. But I wanted to chat about the state of the industry or the scene, the indie game releasing scene. For me, anyway, from my perspective right now. Obviously, it's different for everyone based on their interest and what markets they're active in and what they want to do and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting time. You know, I mean, for the last 10 years, you know, it's been Nintendo handhelds, you know, for me, with the DS and then the 3DS. You know, and obviously we're wrapping up Chicken Wiggle now. Whether that is our last 3DS game or not, I don't know. I couldn't say right now. We'll see, you know. Probably isn't, but it really depends on how the market goes, you know, between now and let's say this Christmas. Like what happens to the 3DS with the Switch release. You know, Nintendo claims that you know, it will continue, but honestly they're not really in control of that. It comes down to the players and if they'll continue buying the games on the 3DS after the Switch is released, which of course they will. But to what degree, you know, how healthy is that market to release games into? And is it only first-party games that are really, you know, selling and stuff? And has everyone moved over to the Switch? I don't think so. I think, like I said before, I think this Christmas is the last big hurrah for the 3DS. So I think this Christmas, touch wood, will still be a healthy, you know, 3DS will be a healthy market to release something in this Christmas. If it's the right game, you know, the right price, blah, whatever. You know, so I'm hoping that Chicken Wiggle isn't our last 3DS game. But anyway, but regardless, that window is closing, and we have to think about, or I have to think about how to, you know, maximize my efforts and you know, and all the guys I'm working with on stuff. So, you know, mobile is something that probably not a lot of you actually care about. Maybe some of you, but that's a market that I personally am interested in as a player and as a developer. I think it's interesting, and I like the challenge of making a game in that market that audience will like and be interested in something that I make there, and it potentially make money. So that's interesting to me. I think that's a fun challenge. I like some of the experiences I've had with games on there. And I'm really proud of what we've done there with Muds and Totes the Goat. So that's definitely a market I'll be looking into more and working in more, I think. And if I can figure out a way to actually make some money there, then that would be great. So there's that. That's definitely one of the things I'm looking into very seriously. Obviously there's the Switch, which I'm excited about as a player, very much so. As a developer, we'll see. You know, I want to make games for it. I think it's safe to say that I will, and I think it's safe to say that we'll have at least something out this year in 2017 that will be on the Switch. I think that's a fair, reasonable thing to say. So that's cool, you know, and we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens in that market. See how well it does. I think it's going to do really well. And I think, but you know, as far as what is the eShop, how accessible is it, how much does Nintendo market and expose the eShop to the general public? You know, right now it hasn't been mentioned at all for the Switch. You know, but we know lots about the retail side of things, so that's interesting. So it's certainly clear that Nintendo isn't putting more stock in the eShop than they have in the past. So we'll have to see. You know, if it's the same as the 3DS, same as the Wii U, that's not bad. Pretty good market. But with, you know, relatively small hard drive space to put games on, you know, and then from day one, in theory, maybe retail games being available on the eShop, such as Zelda potentially taking up half the size of the hard drive, or not the hard drive, but you know, the SD card, whatever the internal storage is. Yeah, people can increase it, but not everyone knows how to do that or even wants to do that. So unfortunately, you kind of have to look at the lowest common denominator, which is what it comes with out of the box, which isn't very much. So you know, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the eShop on the Switch. PS4 is still a pretty healthy market, I think. Obviously, as far as indie games doing well on there, I think that window is closing as well as it gets more crowded, and Sony is you know, focusing maybe less on promoting indie stuff and more on the big retail stuff. You know, obviously they want to make as much money as they can. So yeah, so is that really, you know, I think that's still the strongest console market that exists right now is the PS4. Xbox One obviously being way behind that, Wii U being way behind that. So yeah, so Xbox One is a maybe for us in the future. The submission process is incredibly complicated and time consuming to deal with and wrestle with. Yeah, so I'll leave that there. What else is there? There's Steam. I don't even understand the Steam market, to be honest, so it's a complete enigma to me. We've released stuff there. It's done not great. We partnered up with Gambitious, which is good. They're great. They know that market. They really push it, so that's why we partnered up with them. So our games with them have done pretty good. But again, I don't know. It's a very unique market. Getting exposure for your game on the store, on the Steam page, is really difficult. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know, honestly. Whether we'll do Steam stuff in the future, we probably will. I don't know. I don't know much about Steam. I mean, it's great. It's obviously a huge market. Yeah, would like to do stuff there. I think it's awesome. I love the community they have and what you can do with the games, the leaderboards and the achievements and the cards, the gifts, the blah, all the stuff you can do. It's neat. It's really neat. It's very. I mean, Steam, Valve are very, very smart. They've built an amazing community. You know. Yeah, I'd like to tap into it. There's obviously a huge install base there. I'd love to make make games for it that sell really well there. We haven't been able to figure that out so far, so whatever, we'll see. Yeah, so that's what have I forgotten about a platform? Probably. Well, there's Android, of course, and a lot of our future mobile development is utilizing Unity. Well, that's a lot of our thoughts anyway moving forward, and obviously that does support Android as well as iOS. So that is something that we would like to support more. I think realistically, I think the iOS will be the initial release. Get it done, get it out, because it is a little simpler in some ways, where Android is way simpler in some ways as well than iOS even, but where it's not simple is the screen resolution, because there's so many devices for Android, more than iOS, believe it or not. So there's a lot more screen resolutions and just devices to worry about. Does it work on everything? Does it look good on everything? Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, the mobile stuff we have kicking around right now, Android has definitely been something that we have talked about, and I think once we get the iOS one out, we'll look at what's involved in getting the Android one done as well, and hopefully get that done. So that would be cool. And I think that's all. Man, this has been a long one. So thanks for staying till the end. I hope you're doing very well, and thanks for coming by. And I'll see you again next week. All right, then. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.